Okay, so once you have your plan, here's my little drawing again of what I plan to do. The first thing you're going to do is I have these pre-made tiles for you guys. The first thing you want to do is make them look pretty. So you'll see that there might be like a little bit of cracks or the sides aren't even or straight. You can fix that by using a little sponge with a little cup of water. Dip your sponge in the water, squeeze out all the extra water. You don't want there to be too much water in there. You're just gonna gently just smooth out the whole thing. You don't want to get it too wet because then it's gonna be hard to work with later. Okay, next step. So then you're gonna take one of these tools. They're actually all like the same thing, even though they kind of look different. These are called rubber rib tools. I'm gonna use this one to kind of prepare our clay. We're gonna go use this straight side, and we're just gonna go back and forth from left to right. What this does is this is gonna help. Sometimes if we have thin pieces of clay, like our tile might get kind of thin as we take away clay, it likes to curl up. So to keep it straight, I'm gonna actually go like this and go this way. You just wanna go back and forth across that tile. I'm actually just gonna flip it and just go all different ways. Like that, that's probably good enough. And then you can see I kind of messed up my clay a little bit again. So you can dip your sponge in your water, squeeze out all that extra water. You don't want it to be too wet. And just make it look all pretty again. Drawing your design that you already made onto here. So, what tool we're gonna use for this? This is called a ball stylus tool. You see it has like a little, where is the camera? A little tiny sphere at the end. This is good for drawing. And the key with this part is you just want to draw it super, super light. You don't want to just go in and carve out right away. Just start with it super light. And it might take some time, and that's totally fine. So, here I go. I'm going to start. Probably will mess up. If you keep it light, then if you guys were to mess up, you can just erase it with your finger. Like, I don't know if you guys can see, but I made some of these, like I started drawing my paintbrush. But if I don't like that, if you keep it light, then you can just take your finger and just blend it all together. And it's like it never even happened. And it's really nice. Clay is really forgiving that way. So if that's the case, you can start over. You can erase a little part. So I'm gonna start again. As I'm drawing this, you'll notice that clay, where's the camera? Sorry. Clay will kind of build up. Is that focused? Anyway, there's a bunch of clay on the little sphere at the end of my thing. If that happens, just wipe it off and then keep going because you don't want that buildup of clay. Okay, so now you can see that I have my drawing in here very lightly. I did not carve deep, it's just super light. Also keep in mind, you want to make sure that whatever you're drawing is centered. You don't want this to be like in the corner or off center. Make sure that it looks spaced nicely and that you're proud of it. If not, if you do the whole thing and you don't like it, take your sponge. Don't really add any water to it and just erase it and start over again. It's super easy that way. Here's all my clay that I took off that kind of built up on my little tool. What you're gonna do is you're gonna start carving away that background. Oh, there's the bell. start carving that background. And you want to start small. You don't want to just go in there and start carving away because that's probably not going to go well. Always start light, like start small, and then you can take larger pieces out later. But we wanted to have that background. We want this to pop out from the tile, have like that 3D look. So we're going to be taking away all of this background stuff. And this clay that's coming off, you can just leave it in a little pile right here because you might need it later on, but maybe you won't. So we're just taking like little ribbons off this thing slowly. We're not going in super fast. We're not taking off large chunks at a time. We're just gonna carve away that background. Okay, let's say you're doing this thing, and all of a sudden you take out a chunk that's too big. Like maybe like you didn't want it to be that deep. What you could do is you could take some of this little scrap clay, kind of roll it into a ball, place it where you messed up, and just kind of smooth it in. Maybe you can add you can just dip your finger in water and just kind of blend it all like that, and then it could just kind of fill in that gap. So if you're a mess up, you can always add back clay, and that's totally fine. That's probably gonna happen, and that's just part of the process. Okay, so I've gone around my whole palette once, but I don't feel like this is really popping out yet. And it kind of looks crazy right now, but that's totally fine. Just kind of trust the process. I'm gonna go around a second time so I can really make sure that my design is popping out and it's very clear as to what I want the viewers to see. So I'm gonna just take a little bit at a time. Remember, you don't want to take too much off at a time because maybe you can always add it back, but it's easier to take away slowly than just going right in and just taking off big chunks. You want to keep it very, very small in the beginning. You can see it kind of looks crazy right now. You'll also notice that you'll probably get a bunch of little like clay, little like pieces everywhere. Try to brush all those off. And then the next step is pretty simple because you see how we have all these like crazy lines. To get rid of those, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our water, dip our finger in the water, and we're just gonna go over the clay and smooth it all out. And once again, we do not want to add too much water. We're just gonna take it, make it look nice and smooth, nice and pretty. Okay, I spent a lot of time taking away some more clay and smoothing it out. I don't know if you guys can tell, but the background is smooth, but like the edges of what I want to be popping out is not very smooth. So what you need to do to fix that, just once again, dip your finger. You don't want it to be too wet, just a tiny bit wet. And then you can kind of just go over those edges very gently. And that will kind of fix that. And you can